안녕하세요, 여러분. 2024
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at 2024 Global Wel-Tech Conference. We are joined by people from Korea and the UK and Asian countries like Philippines, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Inbon. I'm very glad to meet you all. I am Song Kyung-han from SIDA, the Social Innovation Organization, creating change through connection. I'm truly honored and delighted to host today's event.
2024 글로벌 웰테크 컨퍼런스는 ICT 컴플렉스가
Our
기획운영하고
conference is planned and operated by ICT Complex, hosted by Ministry of Science and ICT, and organized by National IT Industry Promotion Agency, SIDA, Korea Digital Social Welfare Society, and Seongonghae University. I would like to deliver my deep appreciations to all partners and sponsors. This conference is a forum to explore a nexus of digital tech and welfare and find an innovative way. I hope this conference will serve as a valuable opportunity to advance the future direction of future welfare together. Today's conference is divided into two main parts. In the first part, we will explore a global trend in digital welfare solutions with the speakers from Korea, the UK, and Hong Kong. In the following part, we will examine 5 best practices of global digital welfare solutions, introducing their practical applications and development backgrounds. And I hope you enjoy the conference until the very end. Before getting started, we have a special guest who are here to celebrate the 2024 Global Wel-Tech Conference. First, we will hear congratulation remarks from Mr. Lee Sang-ta, team leader of Digital HR Development Team from National IT Industry Promotion Agency.
예, 안녕하십니까.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Lee Sang-ta from the Digital Talent Development Team at the NIPA. Thank you very much for joining us at the Global Wel-Tech Conference. The NIPA, the National IT Industry Promotion Agency, is promoting various programs to foster human resources in digital new technology industries. And with the developers, we are conducting various competitions in the area of through the ICT and software development competitions to provide more actual practices and development opportunities. We are also working with them to realize various social values by solving the challenges that we face in the social and public welfare sector. I'm delighted to be joining you at this conference where we will be sharing the best digital products and services from around the world. This conference is not just a place where we're going to be discussing the newest technologies, but we will be seeking ways to really achieve true global cooperation in order to provide better welfare services. We believe that digital innovation is going to change at an ever faster rate, and this is going to further enhance our work in the social welfare sector. AI, big data, mobile platforms, and cloud technologies are some of the many innovative technologies that can help the welfare services to enhance their efficiency and maximize their the accessibility, providing more opportunities for people in this field as well as those who receive the services. This conference is going to be an excellent opportunity for us to share international trends and best practices, share our experiences, and discuss how further our digital welfare services can progress in the years to come. This will be able to bring practical changes to the actual welfare industry around the world, and again, provide us with an important impetus for seeking more global cooperation. We believe digital technology can be used as a player to play an important role in enabling a society where everyone can benefit from welfare services. We are enjoying a beautiful day of snow today. We're delighted to be joining you online, and we hope that this new snow will be seen as a blessing for us to foster a better cooperation in this field. I hope that this will again serve as an excellent opportunity for us to exchange ideas and build on our cooperation opportunities. Thank you very much for all your work. Thank you very much, Mr. Isang-ta, for the wonderful welcoming speech. So moving on.
Thank you. Next, let me invite Mr. Jo Seok-young, President of Association of Korea Welfare Center for the Disabled.
2024년 글로벌 웰텍
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2024 Global Wel-Tech Conference online. I am Jo Seok-young, President of the Association of Korea Welfare Center for the Disabled. I am delighted to be part of this important gathering today, where we will discuss digital transformation and innovation in the welfare sector both domestically and internationally. In catching up with these rapid changes, the transformation of welfare system and technologies has become not a choice but a necessity. Particularly in the welfare for the disabled, digital technology plays a crucial role in improving accessibility and providing customized services. At this conference, I look forward to learning about innovative cases from different countries and having in-depth discussions about our future direction. Furthermore, I hope the insights and experience of domestic and international experts would lead us to development of welfare technologies that can more reach out to the disabled and the vulnerable. I firmly believe this is an opportunity for our digital service and the welfare sector to reach globally. I would like to express my deep gratitude to the organizers and the experts and speakers, and I assure you that our association will continue to provide unwavering support for digital transformation and disability welfare. Thank you.
조석영 회장님 축사 너무
Thank you,
감사드립니다.
President Jo Seok-young.
행사가 얼마나 의미 있는지, 특히 디지털 기술과
How meaningful this
사회복지
event is, and the expectation of the nexus of the digital technology and welfare is well expressed in his welcome remarks.
자, 그럼 이제 본격적으로 발표하는 시간을 가져보려고
Now let's
하는데요.
move on to the presentation sessions.
디지털 복지 솔루션의 국내외 트렌드.
We have prepared the first part of the conference to share some in-depth discussions on the global trends of welfare technologies. So we have invited 3 speakers. 15 minutes will be given to each speaker. And after the 3 presentations, we will give 5 minutes to the presenters to share a few more words and share their comments. Also, if you have any questions while the presentation is being delivered, please leave your questions in the chat room so that we will be able to collect them and pose them to the different presenters. If there are any questions in the chat room that we are not able to provide answers with right away, we will make sure that we collect them and get back to the person who asked the question via email. So please leave the necessary information. We will be contacting you as well. So share any comments, ideas, and of course questions to the presenters through the chat room. So with no further ado, we would like to invite our first presenter who is joining us here on site. We have Professor Kim Yong-duk, Professor of Social Welfare at Seongkong-hae University. He was the former chair of the Korean Social Welfare Association. So he will be talking to us about the trends and challenges in Korean digital social welfare. So Professor, please.
네, 반갑습니다. 방금
Yes, hello
소개받은
everyone. I am Kim Yong-duk at Seongkong-hae University. It's a delight to be joining you this afternoon.
오늘 제가 한국의 디지털 사회복지 관련 흐름을 크게 6가지
This is the table of contents,
나눠서 간략하게 말씀드리겠습니다.
and I'm just going to go over them very briefly because you will all be able to see the slides at the end. I will start off by sharing with you what the meaning of the digital social welfare is, and then share with you some government trends in Korean government trends in digital utilization for social welfare sector.
그리고 세 번째는
And I
우리
will also share
민간의
some
사회복지
of
기관
the
현장에서 일하는
trends in the private sector
이
of
디지털 기술을
how we are trying
어떻게
to
활용하고
use
있는지 그
digital
동향을
technologies and devices in
네
the social
번째는
welfare
이 디지털
field.
기술을 실제로
And
사회복지 현장에
fourth,
활용할 때
I would also
몇
like
가지
to talk a
차원으로
little bit
나눠가지고
about
실제
some of the
활용이
different
어떻게
layers or
활용돼서
the
설명될 수
diverse
있는지를
practices of digital
말씀드리겠습니다.
social welfare.
그리고 다섯 번째는
And the fifth will be
우리
sharing
디지털
of
우리
the current
한국의 디지털
challenges that we
사회복지
face
경험을 통해서 볼 때
based
앞으로
on
어떤
our
점들이 좀
experiences here in
도전적이고
Korea
과제가 되는지
about applying
살펴보도록 하겠습니다.
digitalization
마지막으로
to the
본론적인
social
말씀을
welfare
드리도록
work,
하겠습니다.
and then finish off with a short
먼저 첫
conclusion.
번째 그 디지털 사회복지가
So
무슨
first, what is the meaning
뜻이냐면
of
디지털
digital
사회복지는
social welfare?
보시는 그림처럼
As you can see
아주
on the
간략하고
slides,
이렇게 선명하게 설명드려도 괜찮을 것 같습니다. 그래서 디지털 사회복지는
It's
기존의
basically
사회복지의 정책, 행정, 실제를
using
디지털
digital
기술,
technology
디지털 기술이라 하면
in the
이메일을
sector
포함해서
of the existing social
가상현실,
welfare,
플랫폼,
so
인공지능
policy,
이런
administrative
것들을
work, and
믹스했을
actual
때
practices. We
어떤
apply
새로운
digital
그
technology, such
이
as AI,
실제와 혼합이
data,
이루어지는가 그런
SNS
거를
use,
이제
and so forth.
탐구하고 실천하는 분야다
So
이렇게
this
말씀드릴
is
수가
what
있겠습니다.
digital social welfare would
두
be.
번째 이제 정부의 동향입니다. 이게
So what is the
대한민국
government,
정부의
so the
디지털
Korean
기술
government
활용의
doing in
그
terms
가장
of
그
digital
대표적인
utilization
정부
for
부처는요.
social welfare?
보건복지부입니다.
Well, the main
그래서
the
보건복지부는
ministry here would
지금
be the
그
Ministry of Health
그림으로
and
보시는
Welfare. And
이런
as you can
그
see on
위기
the slide
지원,
here,
응급
we
지원,
have various support
화재
measures in
감지 이런
practice
위험으로부터
to provide
취약한
assistance in emergency
사람들을
situations,
신속하게
security services
감시하고
for the elderly,
그
individuals
구조하는
living
이런
alone, and also
시스템을
people with disabilities.
10년 정도 전부터
So it's already been
운영하고
about
있습니다.
10
이게 이제
years since we have
한국의
implemented, the
그
Korean
디지털
government has
사회복지
implemented
정책의
various
굉장히
services.
대표적 사업이다
So
이렇게
this,
생각하셔도
I would
되겠습니다.
say, is the representative
다음으로 이제
digital
그
utilization
역시
service in the welfare sector.
보건복지부에서 수행하는 사업인데요.
So this is again
보건복지부에서
conducted
수행하는
by the
사업들 중에
Ministry
이제
of
최근
Health and
들어서
Welfare.
지금 그림에 보이는
I
것처럼
would like to share
그
some examples of
AI
it.
기반의
We
그런
have
그
AI-based robots that are
그다음에
being
앱, 뭐
distributed
이런 것들을
to the
활용해서
individual
다양한
households in
시도들을
need. We also have ICT-based devices
이렇게 생각해 주시면
and
되겠습니다.
applications that are being developed
그다음에
and
이제
used in
보건복지부
cooperation with the local governments.
보건복지부 다음으로 정보통신
Also, the Ministry of Science
과학기술
and
정보통신부
ICT
에서
also
오늘 우리
provides
행사의
various
여기
support.
관련해서 하고 있는데요. 그
The
지금
conference today is also being
ICT
co-hosted by the
컴플렉스가
Ministry of Science and
수행하고
ICT.
있는 피우다
Here
프로젝트와
we
같은
have
것들은
the
이
PIUDA
피우다
project, which I
프로젝트는
believe we will have
현장에
a short
찾아가서
presentation later.
기술자들이
So
현장과
basically, the PIUDA
협업해서
project
기술을 개발하고
works
도와주고
with
이런
engineers to
활동이 되겠습니다.
be dispatched to the actual
그다음에
social
이제
welfare sites
또
to set up various devices
정보통신
and be able to assist them in the use of
과학기술정보통신부에서
various
하는 일인데요.
services.
그
The Ministry of Science and
진행형
ICT
경로당
also
구축 사업, 그다음에
has projects such as
농어촌 지역의
intelligent or
스마트
smart
거리
senior
지정도
center
성에
projects
사업 이런
or
것들도
the smart
이루어지고
village
있습니다.
deployment and expansion project.
다음 부처는 산업통상자원부
The Ministry
여기서
of
주로
Trade,
로봇을
Industry and
관장을
Energy
로봇을
also works with
선정해서도
various
검증에
robot-related
의해서
industries.
로봇이라고 하는 이 제품을
So the
사회적
various
약자에게도 충분히
robotic
혜택을
products
누리게 하자. 뭐
are
이런
being
그
used to provide
법률적
various
근거가
social
있기 때문에
benefits
이에 근거해서
to
이제
the needy. We already
로봇을
have a legal
사회복지
basis
현장에
to
보급하는
promote
이런
such
국가들이
projects. So
계속
various different types of robots are
이루어지고
being
있습니다.
developed and deployed
다음은
in
이제
necessary
방송통신위원회,
areas in the
방송통신위원회에서
social
아주
welfare sector.
예전부터 시각장애인,
The
청각장애인의
Korea
대한
Communications
정보
Commission
접근을
also
위해서
supports
디지털
various
기술
media
기반의
activities
지원
so that
활동을
media
계속하고
can
있습니다.
be better utilized by
다음
the various
주제는
vulnerable groups in our
이런
society.
정책의 영향을 받으면서 이 사회복지를 실천하는 현장에서는 이
So
디지털의
on
활용이
site,
어떻게
the use of
이루어지고
digitalization
있는지
is
두 번째
very
지점을
active
말씀드리도록
already here
하겠습니다.
in Korea.
첫 번째는 코로나19와
And
관련입니다.
the first or the most well-known
이전에도
example would
민간에서
be during the
아주
COVID-19
다양한
pandemic.
방식으로
Now, even
디지털
before the
기술을 활용하는
pandemic,
시도들을 하고
the Korean
있었지만
society
그게
already
사실은
applied various
정확하게
digital
드러나지는 않았습니다.
activities and
그런데 이제
technologies
코로나
in the
현상을
welfare sector.
거치면서
It
이
was
디지털의
not
활용이
that
본격적으로
well known, though,
순환위로
but
오르기 시작했고
having lived through the COVID years and onwards, the digital utilization has become truly evident in our daily work in the social welfare sector, and it continues to develop.
이 현장의 구체적인 단위 중심으로 보면
If you look at the different layers of the society, well, we first have the local governments,
안전을 지켜주는 이런 그 솔루션들을 많이 시도하고
where
있습니다.
the governments are providing various services to ensure the safety for the individual homes. And also in the senior welfare centers, we are setting up robots, various devices that help with the seniors to practice or improve their cognitive abilities. In the social welfare centers, digitalized technology is also being used for the betterment of communications with the local residents. And also in the welfare centers for people with disabilities, well, they have actually been at the forefront of introducing various rehab robots and cognitive support robots, as well as emotional support robots being deployed on site, providing various opportunities to also utilize VR as well.
그러면 지금까지 정책이나 민간에서 하고 있는 그런 디지털 사회복지를 활용하는 것을 좀 구분해서
in terms of the actual deployment of technologies, we have been focusing on better utilization of technologies at the administrative and communication activities by the local government. So this would, I would say, be in the more traditional or the very basic sense of applying digital technology to their local government's work. So adding new functions that were previously unavailable through the introduction of new IT or digital products and services. So it could be in the form of robots. And the second stage is where we adopt or introduce various products or services developed by private companies, private sectors.
적극적 활용 차원 이렇게 생각하시면 될 것 같습니다. 또 마찬가지로 그다음에 가상현실과 같은 것도 이제
그런
제품의 활용
introduce various VR in the actual work as well.
앱과 같은 것들을 현장에 맞게 맞춤형으로 개발해서
보급하는 step, I would say, would be working on developing applications for specific on-site field programs.
그다음에 이제 네 번째는
And the fourth
인공지능 기반으로
area would be trying to introduce, it is a more recent activity, I would say, to introduce various AI-based solutions in services with existing programs or developing new programs being with the assistance of various artificial intelligence solutions. So here we use, for example, the Gamma app to create presentations that can be used on the actual social welfare projects on site. We also use Suno or Canva. So these various AI projects are being blended into the social welfare activities with the individual beneficiaries. There are many other IT tools, AI tools. And I would say that the use of AI tools on site are being really quickly implemented. So you will see, so as I have said, the use of digital technology is being very actively promoted at the government level and also at the private level. And there are some challenges that we must be thinking about as well. Number one would be setting the right directions for the digital utilization. So in the past, we used to focus on just implementing the existing or newly developed technology to the sites. But now we need to be more tailored. Technology itself must be more tailored to the individual sites. The second challenge is that we don't want to force the use of technology onto our users. So everything that we introduce must be user-centric when it comes to the introduction of the digital technology and its actual day-to-day support. So the users must take the lead in really being accustomed and familiar with the use of various digital technology and equipments rather than being forced to use it in their daily lives. The third challenge that we need to think about is to set up, to discuss the rightful perspectives in terms of developing the practical capabilities of those people who are working in the social service sector. We also need to think about how we can better build the overall environment and system for the different service organizations that provide the social welfare services. The fifth challenge here we present is that we need to develop the field support policies by the Ministry of Health and Welfare, as well as the local governments. So we have various different policies that are already in place. So we need to recognize the actual implementation of digital technology when we measure the success of various social welfare programs. So this slide talks about or introduces the challenges in this area. And the sixth challenge that I present in my presentation is that we need to set up a mid to long-term strategy for social welfare policy. So how are we going to define the relationship between the social welfare, labor, and digital technology? How are we going to develop a strategy for creating new jobs? So in the first one, we can think of how are we going to supplement various activities? How are we going to replace certain activities that, for example, would be too demanding, physically demanding for the social welfare professionals? And how can we also enhance some of the work using the digital technology? So these are the more detailed areas that we need to pay attention to when we set out to implement the digital technology in the field of social welfare. We also need to continue to conduct research on the actual practice methods and outcomes. We need to explore the balance between in-person and online approaches. So we need to identify which areas truly benefit from the implementation of digital technology. There might be areas where the adverse effects are actually larger. So we need to be careful and really do a very in-depth study on evaluating the implementation results. So since 2019, we have various research papers that came out on digital utilization in South Korea's social welfare sector. We first learned that, yes, the technology does help. But second, there needs to be a very detailed and careful process of both the users and the service providers being accustomed to really using such digital technologies. And the third thing that we learn is that we need to ensure that even with the use of digital technology, there has to be more human-to-human interaction in the field of social welfare sector. In the past, we've had some doubts about whether the blind implementation of the digital technologies could really help in the social welfare sector. Research finds that the use of ICT and digital technology does help, but we definitely need to continue to focus on the actual people-to-people, person-to-person interaction, as well as really work on the process itself of it, getting accustomed and familiar with the process itself. So here, the conclusion I would say is we can definitely integrate the traditional social welfare with the new and emerging digital technology, and we need to create the best hybrid practice using the 4 key areas of practical applications, as I have introduced in the presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor, for your presentation. You shared with us some Korean government policy trends to the actual practices on the actual field. I really couldn't agree more with your emphasis on being more people-centered and emphasis on more person-to-person interaction as we benefit from various digital technologies and apps. I think the other presenters and probably the questions will also be resonating on this area as well.
And he will be joining us in the last, the plenary comment session. And thank you for that. And next. You are familiar with the term tech for good, right? It means technology for public good. And I believe this is an area of interest for all the speakers and participants for today. Today we have invited Mr. Paul Miller, CEO of Bethnal Green Ventures, who is a pioneer in the tech for good. Paul Miller started the BGV in 2012 and currently serves as its CEO. For its work, he was awarded an honor in 2020. Now, let's hear from Mr. Paul Miller, CEO of BGV, about tech for good, social innovation through investment. Paul, the floor is yours.
Well, hello everybody. It's really good to be here. Can you all hear me okay? I hope so. Yes, good. I'm just gonna get to the beginning of my presentation. Well, yes, hello. I'm actually in Spain today rather than the UK, just on a trip. But there's no snow here, I'm afraid. It's quite European and wet at the moment. But yeah, it's really great to be with you today. And I wanted to give you a different perspective on how we think about technology and social welfare from a UK perspective. Social welfare is not a phrase that is used all the time. We have maybe a slightly different framing of it. But I think there are some really relevant points, so on. So I'm just going to introduce a little bit of our work at Bethnal Green Ventures, and then I'll talk about some case studies of using digital technologies in social welfare and around health and inclusion, which are perhaps 2 phrases that we would use in the UK. So why are we doing what we do and investing in tech for good? I think this quote from Sir Ronald Cohen, who's one of the pioneers of impact investing and venture capital in the UK, tells you really. It's actually from a demand from entrepreneurs, from founders of companies who want to build companies that address social challenges. And we've seen a real rise in growth in people who want to start businesses and new organizations and new projects that have a positive social impact, as well as delivering a service. And that's a trend that we've seen gradually and markedly increasing over the years. And so at Bethnal Green Ventures, what we do is we invest in those founders and those businesses that are trying to have a positive social impact, and we support them as well. We build a community around them of people and resources that can help them to deliver those services for vulnerable people, or to improve public services using technology. And we've been doing that now, as Sung Kyung says, since a little bit before 2012. We started out by running what we called social innovation camps that brought people together to, people who were really, really good developers and engineers with people who understood the particular social problems that they were trying to address, and often in the same room as the potential users of the products or services that they were going to build. And over the last 12 years, we've invested £10 million into companies like that, usually really, really early stage, at a sort of prototype stage. And actually, over that time, we've invested in over 200 companies, and 20 million people's lives have been positively impacted by the products and services that have come out of those companies over that time. And our focus is a little bit broader than social welfare. So we do also back companies that are trying to address environmental issues as well. So that's the companies that we describe as a sustainable planet. But then the social welfare side comes into what we call a better society, which is all about inclusion. So helping to address the problems that are faced by vulnerable groups, and then healthy lives, which is often around an aging population or around mental health issues, those kinds of things. So those are the two particular themes that I'm going to look at more today, but it's not everything that we do at Bethnal Green Ventures. We do also look at sustainability startups. And just on the final point on the context, if you like, for what we're doing, and Sung Kyung asked me to just say a little bit about how the ecosystem for supporting digital startups that are addressing these issues came about in the UK, because I think it is quite interesting just to hear maybe a little bit about how much the government has supported this sector in the UK over the last 10, 12 years. And this has been successive governments as well. It wasn't just one political party that has done this. There's very good, I think, cross-party consensus on supporting social innovation and social investment. And I give you three very different examples in terms of their scale and the way that they operated. But the first was actually in the early days of the growth of the ecosystem for Tech for Good. The government created a thing called the Social Incubator Fund, which is very small in terms of the funding that was available, so around £10 million. But what that was very important to do was it built the ecosystem of support organisations for social ventures and digital innovations around social welfare. So that fund, I think, backed 10 social incubators, which were usually physical locations that where those founders and entrepreneurs could come across the UK, and that really kick-started, I think, the ecosystem of Tech for Good startups in the UK. The next innovation was much larger, but actually didn't involve any government funding directly. It was the invention of an organisation called Better Society Capital. And what the government did there was it found that there was all these assets that were in dormant bank accounts. So the bank accounts that people had perhaps forgotten about, or where the ownership of it was unclear, and that money has to be kept by the banks just in case somebody wants it back later on. But it's unused in the time when it's not being claimed, and so the government asked the banks to put that to work for social innovation. And they created this fund called Better Society Capital, which has then invested all of that money into social impact, and it's been a really successful experiment almost, but now a very mainstream part of policy to support startups and charities and so on who are making innovations around social welfare. So I think it's a really interesting model. It's one that's I know is being copied in Japan, and there's also some exploration of it going on in Germany as well at the moment. So, and then finally, another one that you may well have come across, but the government digital service, which was really pioneering when it was created in around 2011. which is the idea that I think government procurement of IT projects and digital projects had become very expensive, and actually got quite a high failure rate. And so what they did was they bought a lot of those contracts in-house, so into the government, and they hired very good team who created a unified set of design principles for the use of digital technologies in the public sector. And that was called the Government Digital Service, and it still exists today. And it is responsible for the design principles, if you like, of all digital technologies use in the public sector, so by government. And that means that there's a kind of unification almost, and a common thread that goes through all digital services in the UK. I wouldn't pretend that it's perfect. It certainly doesn't always work quite as well as it might do, but it made a real leap forward, I think, in the usability and the user-centered approach of digital technologies in the public sector in the UK. So 3 very different government initiatives that I think are good introduction to the context in the UK, because all of those organisations, all of those initiatives touch the way that social welfare is delivered in the UK. So I thought I'd just give you some case studies of the kinds of companies that we've backed and that we've worked with, and I do that a little bit through explaining 3 things that we've learned by backing hundreds of startups in this space over the last 10 years. And those lessons that we've learned, Professor Kim's already mentioned one of them, but is around understanding the problem, so really focusing on the user, on user-centered design. The second one may be a little bit different, but is around how the impact that you're having should align with the money that pays for that service. And then finally, some things we've learned about how to measure the impact of a technology and demonstrate whether or not it's working. So yeah, as I say, I think Professor Kim's already mentioned this, but one of the key lessons that we've learned is that it's so important that digital services, as they're developed, have the user at the center of them. We when we're looking for founders to back and to invest in, we often look for some personal experience of the problem that's being faced in the founding team of the business, of the project. So that could be that they have potentially they're a former sort of service user themselves, or they have family members who are using the service that they're trying to improve. And we found that that's a really good indicator of the potential success of the project. If there is direct experience of it in the company, that's great. The next sort of piece is that they really obsessively observe what happens now. So we like it when teams spend lots of time potentially, say, in an elder care home, or in a hospital waiting room, or in a children's centre, and physically they're there and watching how things happen in order to learn how their service can best improve things and be focused on those users. And then finally, we found that it's really important for teams very early on to think about what are the potential unintended consequences of their technology. And again, I think Professor Kim has touched on this. If you can think through and have people who are open to thinking about the downsides as well as the upsides, you get a much more healthy uptake of that technology, we found. And just one example that we've been working with recently, I think this may be a problem that's maybe less faced in Korea, but in the UK, access to public services is often difficult for people who don't have an easy way of proving their identity. So about 20% of the UK population doesn't have any form of government identity documents. And that leads to a great deal of exclusion from public services, also financial services. And Vouchsafe is a company that we backed who understood this problem because they'd faced it themselves. One of the team had also worked on the government side, so had seen how much of a problem it was for the government. And they've built this service now, which overcomes some of the barriers that are faced, both in government in terms of how the bureaucracy works, but also for users who maybe don't have ready access to the kind of identity documents that most of the population do. So that's just one example of a company that we backed, solving a very specific problem, but one that actually causes quite a lot of exclusion in the UK. The next lesson that I would talk about is around the money and how these services get paid for. Because ultimately, all the organisations we back are from the private sector generally, and they need some form of income in order to become sustainable and to grow and to improve their service. And one thing we've learned is that actually it's much better if those companies where they base their business model is very closely linked to the impact that they're having, rather than being an add-on. So you do get companies where maybe they make their money in one area, but then they use that money to have a charitable benefit in another area. We found that that's not ultimately a sustainable model for many of the companies that we work with. It's much better if they're directly being paid to deliver the social impact. And one example I would give is Doctor Doctor, which is now used by nearly the majority of UK population, as it's the system that's used for smart appointments in hospitals in the National Health Service. And they actually make their money by saving the NHS money. So their contract value is linked to the amount of money that they're saving on administration for the National Health Service. So very direct link in that they're saving the health service money, and that's how they make money. So they make essentially a percentage of the money that they save for the National Health Service. And then finally, I think one thing we've learned is, again, I think this came out a little in Professor Kim's comments, that it's really important to be able to show whether you are having a positive benefit and to be able to measure that benefit. Because otherwise, people can be skeptical of technology. We've seen more widely a bit of a backlash against the use of technology, I think, in some social settings, or in all of our lives, where we feel it's just too much, it's too intrusive, and so on. So being able to measure the impact that you have as a project or as a startup in social welfare, I think, is also really important. And we try to encourage our companies to do that very, very early on in their life. So to set metrics that show how they're having impact over time. And then reporting that impact, we found, is actually a very good way of improving trust between users and the providers of the service as well. So transparency and openness and being able to show those metrics tends to lead to better outcomes, because people have more trust in the digital product or service that's being created. An example here, one actually we've only invested in this company this year, but Our Time, who are working with care home providers, so elder care, to try and solve a problem for them, which is around predicting workforce problems ahead of time. So they're using artificial intelligence and taking huge amounts of data to then, in relatively real time, be able to say what are likely problems that are coming up in the workforce in that area, whether that's because the workforce are becoming too stressed in a particular manner, or there might be external factors in things like weather. I don't know whether the snow stops people from getting to work in Korea or not, but those kinds of issues actually can make a real difference. And their platform enables care home managers to plan the workforce ahead of time, and save money and hopefully deliver a much better quality of care for the elders that they're working with. So those are just a few examples of the kinds of companies that we're backing, and I'm very happy to be part of this conference and to answer any questions that you might have over time.
네, 배스널 그린 벤처스의 폴 밀러의 발표 들어봤는데요.
Thank you.
특히 이제 디지털 기술을
Mr. Paul Miller.
개발하고 있는 분들이 사회복지 현장과 만나려고 할 때
Digital technology developers may design the technology and implement the technologies in the market. And Paul Miller pointed out very important milestones in that process. Lastly,
moving on to our last speaker for the first part of our conference, let's move on to the actual site of how and see how the digital technology is actually employed on site. So we have invited Mr. Charlie Chen from Caritas Hong Kong to share their experiences on the digital solution in actual social services, Hong Kong's communication experience through Open Up. So please, Charlie, the floor is yours.
So hi everyone. I hope you can listen to my voice and it's good enough for you to hear my presentation. So I'm Charlie Chan from Hong Kong. Good afternoon all. Thank you so much for inviting me to this special conference about digital solution in social work. I'm pleased to share what Hong Kong has done and what we have achieved here. My team member, Winnie, one of the project leaders, is also here, and she can answer any practical issue regarding our operation. And my focus will be more on the micro or the practical way, because Professor Kim and Paul has shared about a macro perspective. I'm trying to do a micro perspective, how the digital solution enhance our social service. Some technical problem I need to okay, that's good. That's good. I'm going to share three typical example of how digital solution in youth service has been done in Hong Kong, and Caritas has involved all of them. The first one is the online outreach work that government support. We have 5 teams in Hong Kong operating by different agencies to cover the whole youth population, and Caritas has involved one of them. The cyber youth support teams is a very typical online working approach in Hong Kong. The core feature of the service is to write on different social media channels to engage young people who do not like conventional youth service or who are disconnected from the community. Sometimes we will call this young person as a hidden youth. The team relies on different social media platforms to engage with and support at-risk and isolated youth, and offering guidance, support, and counseling service either online, offline, or hybrid. We emphasize how to work from online to offline. This is one of the very typical digital solutions in Hong Kong, how to engage the hidden young people. And the second type is, I call it a funding driven, because many funding bodies will encourage different NGOs to submit proposals that adopt digital solutions to enhance the service, either the manpower or the enhance the service effectiveness. There are many kinds of this funding, and it creates many different digital projects, similar to the 5 cases that you will going to present in the second part. And it could create, most are wide on commercial projects like developing different application, VR and AR. One of the typical funding body is the Big Drug Fund in Hong Kong, which is a funding to support a Hong Kong NGO to develop different projects to enhance the drug education and the drug rehabilitations. The fund encourage us to use innovation or technology to develop more service on drug education or rehabilitation. The funding guidance clearly state that any idea facilitate early identification of drug user and intervention through the adoption of innovation means and broader use of technology. I will share one of our projects which adopt VR to work on the drug rehabilitations. And the third one is maybe the main focus of this presentation is about the Open Up. The Open Up is trying to address the issue of youth mental health issue, which is quite serious in Hong Kong in the past 5 years. One of the pain points is many survey or reports show that young people prefer online communication over traditional hotline to seek help. So in 2018, Caritas and 5 agencies, including the University of Hong Kong, to set up the first round-the-clock online testing service in Hong Kong. It is for individuals under 35 to share their feeling and talk to someone in a safe space. So it is designed to cater to young people experiencing emotional distress. It is the first known test-based sequences online counseling and crisis intervention service in Hong Kong. It made a significant impact in changing the concept of people about online counseling. Beforehand, people thought that it was only an online engagement. We don't have any online counseling. However, the open up make people understand that in online contact, we can have a similar therapeutic effect and sometimes more effective than the offline counseling in some cases. And we try to adopt the AI to help us to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of the counseling. And of course, it can reduce the manpower issue because the counselor can deal with 2 cases at the same time, and sometimes can work with 3 cases when there is a high demand or in a crisis situation. So let us go into the detail about these 3 cases. The first one, you can see the PowerPoint that is about the cyber youth supporting team. The cyber youth teams engage the hidden young people and encourage them to reconnect with the community. The service design can be divided into 2 parts. The first part is the online engagement. The social worker will reach out to different social media platforms to connect the young people. And we also find that the young people is quite interested and key on doing some online assessment. So in the first part, we try to use the online assessment, or we outreach to the different online social media platform to engage the young people. The second part is integrating online and offline service, which we often call the O2O intervention approach. When we can motivate them to join our online activity, this activity can be online inquiry or online activity. We will continue encouraging them to join offline activity, including esports training, social skill training, and other related activity. The ultimate goal is to reconnect them to the community. So that's we often doing in Hong Kong to engage those young people who we call hidden youth, or those young people disconnected from the community, or those young people who has less motivation to join our conventional social service. And the second case involved using some commercial product to develop our service. The case is we are trying to adopt a VR application for our drug counseling. So most drug abusers would easily be left because they cannot manage their craving behavior when they encounter some risky environment. Therefore, we have collect information from the drug user, and they told us that there are few high-risk venues which will activate their craving behavior. You can see from the PowerPoint that they told us that when they driving the car and when they go to the hotel, or sometimes they go to the party room, this environment will activate their craving behavior. So we use the VR techniques to stimulate similar environment to induce their craving behavior during the counseling. So the usual social worker will use the quick exposure technique to help them to manage their craving behavior. That's one of the typical examples. We try to integrate the social work counseling with some digital solution. Apart from using the VR technique, we also adopt the AR technique. We use AR technique to conduct some drug education in the community. We have created about 23 AR cards to display different smoking tools and teach the teacher, the parents, how the young people take the drugs. This is quite convenient for us to perform a drug education in different area, different time, and it's quite interesting and attractive to the community. So we have made a very small scale survey of research on how the impact of this VR, the AR digital solution for the drug education and the drug rehabilitation. We found that over 84% of the drug users have reduced their frequencies of drug taking. Some can maintain more than 3 months of drug-free behavior. So I think the success rate can be a demonstration to the potential impact of the using VR or the AR to do our drug education or even the counseling work. So that's it. I think that it's quite common for the Hong Kong NGO to adopt different commercial products to integrate into their social service. And the last one I like to move is the main theme of today is about the open up. As I mentioned before, it is a round-the-clock online test-based platform that allows 5 incoming channels, including SMS, Facebook Messenger, the website, the WhatsApp, and the WeChat. This is all in one platform. Because it is anonymous, so it is quite welcome by the young people. They can test us anytime, anywhere, without any hurdles. During the chat session, we will adopt the AI learning machine to assist us, our volunteer, our counselor in doing the counseling. The AI will also help us to identify the risk level of the user during the chat session. And it can help the duty officer screen out which health seeker is at the higher risk levels. Then they can give extra attention health seeking user. So in fact, we are using the AI machine to develop 5 functions. The first one about during the chat session. The first one is identify the topics of each chat session. The second one is to evaluate the suicide risk. And the third one is during the chat session, the AI machine learning will provide some reminder, some recommendation to the counselor or our. And the last 2, health seeker segmentation and the data analysis is after redoing all the chat session, the AI machine will collect all the information and help us to analyze what type of the health seeking behavior are more risky. What topics do the young people wish to share more, and what topics are more related to suicide risk? Actually, this data can allow us to project the trend. For example, we found that at the beginning of the school year, the high-risk case are the junior students who are facing bullying issues, so that we can inform the school how to make a better preparation at the beginning of the school years. So I share some the interface for the audience to see how we can work. This the duty officer's interface. You can see that the duty officer can oversee all the chats at the same time. So you can find that in the middle of the chat box, this is the high-risk case. When the risk level is increasing, the color of the chat box will change into red, and it can alert the duty officer that there's a high-risk case in our service. The duty officer can either join the chat session, or they can send a message to the counselor to advise him or advise her how to do this high-risk case. And in our left-hand side, you can see how many cases are waiting in the chat room. So if more incoming call is at that time, the duty officer can arrange more volunteer or counselor to take up the call. So that's why we call this as make us to get better use the manpower, better to oversee the situation. And the second, and this PowerPoint is about the interface of the counselor. The first one I just mentioned about that, yes, about the topics classification. In the right-hand side, you can see there's a chat box. During the chat session, this chat box will pop up, and the counselor will find that which area the young people is talking more, which area she or he is more concerned about. We classify the topics into about 5 or 6, including mental health, relationship, negative life feeling, work and career, study, physical health, and the well-being. So that it can alert the counselor whether they can address their concern or not. And the lower part of the chat box is about the risk assessment. You can see that the risk assessment is evaluate the risk level throughout the chat session. So you can find that in this chat box, you can find the risk level is increasing. And the counselor, we can review what happened to the user, what we can do further to reduce the risk. And actually, after the chat, the counselor can review whether the AI machine is making a correct assessment. So the AI can continue the learning how to do the risk assessment, how to classify the topics. As I mentioned also about the AI technology can assist the counselor and the volunteer to do the counseling version. So you can in the right and the left hand side the chat there's a box pop-up is about we have developed we call the single session therapies. And in the single session therapy, we have 5 components. And the AI machine will inform the counselor whether they have fulfilled all the 5 components. The 5 components including a safety net, how to develop the safety net for the case, how to address their emotional needs, whether they have identified their core needs, whether they have developed different alternative solution for the user, and any follow-up plan has been provided for the user. So in the left-hand side, the box will indicate which part the counselor has done and which part he hasn't done. So it can we found that it's quite useful for the people who are junior or who are volunteer. And the last one, we will put up some recommendation for the counselor and volunteer, what kind of service they can be connected to the user. And finally, we can see that we have an overview about our service. For example, this in the December of 2022, we can find in this month, we have about 6,000 incoming tests and incoming call, and we only can serve 2,000. What happened to our service? And you can also see the waiting time. We can review our user journey, review our manpower situation. And finally, it's about how we use the data. We not only using the data that during the chat session, we also invite the user to have the pre-chat interview, post-chat survey, and the counselor also using will do the post-chat survey, and we have also annual online and mobile survey. So finally, we try to use this data to inform us the latest need of the youth, the update change of the youth issue, and we can also build a good practice for the online test-based service. And finally, we hope we have a dashboard about the youth trend so that we can inform the social service of what we can do more and what is useful for the young people. So that's what I wish to share with all of you, and I hope you can enjoy my presentation. And if anyone want to share your question to us, thank you.
네, 감사합니다, 찰리. 저희가 마지막으로
Thank you very much, Charlie Chan, for your presentation. It was a great case showing us how the AI technology is applied to the on-site practices. So I think we can go for
이렇게 해서 이제 저희 세 분 발표해 주신 김용득 교수님, 폴밀라 대표님,
wrap up the presentation session.
모두 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, all 3 presenters. Please remember that the chat room is open. If you have any questions for the presenters, please share your comments, ideas, and follow-up questions on the chat room so that we can share it with the presenters. And we promise we will follow up on you if we aren't able to provide answers right away. So now we would like to invite the presenters to share a few ideas among themselves. And I think we would like to give Paul the first 5 minutes to share your views both on the presentation delivered by Professor Kim and also by Charlie Chan from Hong Kong. So any comments for those 2 presentations? And of course, generally just share some of the comments that you would like to share. One of the questions that we got from the floor in advance is asking, how do we the many users are not really familiar with the ICT or the devices or the applications that we would like to, present to them. So how do we approach them? How do we help them really ease on, have them on board in using that technology? So
해주실 5분의 사례도 이제 사실은 사전에 공유를 해드렸어요. 또 한번 살펴보시면서 어떤 인상을
and also you could
받으셨는지.
comment on the 5 cases that will be presented later on because we shared those presentations with you in advance. So Paul, go ahead.
Yes, well, no, thank you. Both the other presentations really interesting from a perspective in Europe. I think lots of similarities in the way that Professor Kim was thinking about the almost the positives and the negatives, and thinking about this as something that we have to navigate. There's very, very complex issues surrounding the way that technology is used to address social issues, and it seems that the complexity and the way that we address those is common in Europe and in the UK with Korea as well. I thought it was there are a few things where I think we're probably we're behind, I think, Korea and Asia. So particularly thinking about things like robotics in elder care and so on. There's very little consideration, I think, of that in the UK at the moment. So I think we're well behind there. To address your question around how do we get people interested or to look at the technology if maybe it's not their day-to-day experience, I think our approach to that has been to try and use technology in spaces where in some ways you don't need to interact with it as a user first. So we've particularly looked at using technology to improve administration or coordination or those kinds of things as in the first instance. Because yes, I think you do get quite a lot of resistance or slow take up if you're trying to use technology like face to face, if you like, with service users often. So we have actually often found ourselves backing startups that support the staff or the employees rather than necessarily need to be used directly by elders or by children or whatever it might be. So yeah, and then on Charlie's, I thought that was fascinating. I mean, it's really great to see the product and how you're using technology. It looks very similar to some of the startups that we work with in terms of you've built that so it's your team and people can do their jobs better. And that I think if you provide technology to people in a way that helps them to do what they do but better, that it's often easier to get adoption of that technology in that way. And then just going on to the presentations that you shared with us from the projects, they were brilliant. I mean, I was so impressed, and there's a lot of similarities with the kinds of projects that we see in Bethnal Green Ventures, and yeah, some really experienced and interesting teams behind them, and addressing really important problems. And I think those are the two things that we often look at: is the problem important? If it's solved, will it have a genuine positive benefit? And is there a team there that's really committed to solving that problem and who's got the expertise and the experience to try and address it? And all of the projects, fit that bill. So yeah, I thought they were really, really great. And yeah, it was really good to see them.
네, 폴 코멘트 너무 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Paul, for your wonderful comments.
시간이 각자한테는 자신의 이제 이야기를 좀 나누는 거기도 하지만 또 서로의 사례들을 보면서
Conferences like this, I think, also benefits everyone because, like right now, it gives an opportunity for us to all learn from others' practices and others' experience, which we hope will eventually evolve into more cooperation in the field as well. Now we'd like to ask Charlie to make some comments also on the two other presentations and also share your thoughts. We also have one question to share with you at this point. is to how we deal with the AI bias, AI hallucinations. If you use AI in your services as a social welfare entity, especially working with the younger generation, how do you deal with AI bias and AI hallucinations? Should it affect your service in any way? Do you have any thoughts about it? And also, if you would like to share some questions or comments about the presentations that will follow from the 5 different companies that will be joining us later. Thank you. Charlie, go ahead.
So thank you so much for Professor Kim and Paul's sharing. It's quite inspired to me and many refreshing about how to develop some digital solution for the social service. So one of the, I think two speakers has one key point is about the user-centric issues. Because I find in Hong Kong, most of the case is failed because they are not user-centric. They pretend to be user-centric, but actually they are from the perspective of the social worker or from the perspective of the ICT officer of the, I think that they don't have, in Hong Kong case, we don't have invest too much resource or time to develop the user journey or how to call it the user experience before we start our program. So most of time the failure is because that we don't have a user-centric perspective to develop our solutions. And the second one is about I remember the Paul talking about the impact. And we may have many resources to develop the digital solution. We may have many resources to employ different people to deliver the service, but we don't have resources to evaluate the impact. So in my case, in my second case, using the VR, we only have a very small scale to assess the impact. So if we don't have the evidence, we cannot scale up the service. So that's another way. I think that maybe the government or maybe the committee should be aware that the impact assessment is quite important for those digital solutions. And finally, I think that about I just mentioned about the engagement with the users. I think that I'm serving the young people. Our difficulty, our hurdle, our challenge is that the young people often think that our digital solution is not advanced enough and not exciting enough for them. So we are chasing for their their development. So it's quite heavy workload or quite difficult for us. For example, I will talk about the AI issues. But in the very beginning, the open up cases, we try to use the AI chatbot. And in the first month, all the young people send message to us. You are using AI chatbot to talk with us. We don't like this. They drop out from the service. So that's why in our case, we try to do is that AI assist or AI integrate with our service. So we told all the young people, actually, we are using the AI to assist our counseling rather than to use AI chatbot or robotic to talk with them. The young people are so smart that they can smell and they can find that using the robot to talk with us, they don't like it. They wish to have real human touch. Even they are embracing different of technology. They play different e-sport, different video game. But when they wish to have a human, but when they have emotional needs, they are in difficulty or they are in a dark side situation, they wish to have a real human touch. So in our case, we try to use the AI to assist us. So we found that in the interface, we use the AI to enhance our counseling quality, to make some reminder to our counselor. So that's how we position the AI technology in our counseling services. But I think that maybe in later stage, when the robot can be developed like a real human touching scenario, maybe the young people will be welcome this kind of AI robot. I don't know. But at that moment, I still find that the people really want to have real human touch. Even they are named by us, they are unmotivated, hidden youth, but they still looking for real human touch. And about the 5Ks, I've found that the 5Ks is very similar to Hong Kong situation and more advanced than Hong Kong. But I think that the most difficult one is the difficult challenge is that how we can maintain the changes after the senior or the user using those digital solutions. They may be very interested in use in the first, second, or the third month, but they may be most likely to drop out. This quite similar in Hong Kong when we encourage the senior to using some digital device. They may have some interest to use, but in the second or third and in the fourth month, they will drop out quite easily. So there's another challenge. Maybe we need to have another conference talk about how to maintain the changes. So there's my sharing about the 2 billion speaker and your 5 cases. Thank you so much.
감사합니다. 역시 이제
Thank you very much.
활동하시는
That was a very, really true to the site, very practical response that we really, really could relate and appreciate. So thank you very much for that comment.
디지털 기술에 워낙 감각적으로 앞서 있는
We really agree to your point in saying how difficult it is in working with teenagers who are, in many cases, way advanced than we are in terms of technology use. And I think your comments were really valid. And as Professor Kim mentioned, the technology should be used to further enhance people-to-people interaction, not hinder it. So I think that your comment was right on point. So, we asked Paul about how you approach people with challenges in terms of using technology. We asked Charlie about how you use technology with teenagers, and we gained some really, really insightful answers. And last, we would like to ask Professor Kim to share some of his comments. Who was our first presenter. And the question that I have ready for Professor Kim is, it's one of the questions that we also, as a team preparing for this conference, had in mind. So how can the application of technology bring about changes in the society as a whole and not just the social welfare sector? So Professor Kim, please, your comments. Thank you very much for the comments. If I may answer the question raised to me first and then share my comments regarding the 2 other presentations. As we're talking about sharing of use of digital technology in the social welfare sector, is this really beneficial? I think is the question that is being raised, that has been given to me to answer or comment. In some cases, we do fear that technology in some cases isolates the individual even further in just interacting with a screen or a device. So again, I emphasize that the digital technology should be the starting point of an interaction. It should facilitate such interaction, not be the end. I think there are many global research going on in this area, and I have some interesting cases that I'd like to share with you that I've learned from most recent research results. Now, we try to introduce technology to reduce loneliness. So we've asked people, does being active on social network really help you reduce your loneliness? Now, some studies says, yes, it does. Because you gain new technology or you learn new things by your SNS activities. Some paper says the otherwise. It says social network services actually increases people's loneliness. Studies also look into whether robots help people feel less lonely. In many places, we don't have enough people to help people. So we're bringing in robotics, like dogs talking or robot dogs. That robot dog can provide some emotional support for those living alone, for example. But there are also cases where the elders feel that they are being looked down on. Like this social worker comes in, tosses me a robot dog, and am I a child to be given this like newest toy to play with? So that kind of perception exists. And there are some also cases where the individuals tend to like develop some kind of an obsession over the robot dog that has been given to them. So there are very different cases or realities that arise from related to having digital technology and digital devices being applied to social welfare activities. So when we talk about digital technology being applied to social welfare, I think we need to start from where the pain point is of the beneficiary. So we have to first really focus on trying to alleviate those pain points as we introduce digital technology or devices. We sometimes forget that that's our goal, and we focus too much on technology alone. So again, we need to touch base with the actual pain point that we are trying to address in the beneficiaries. I really listened. Charlie's presentation was really interesting, and here in Korea as well, we feel that the IT or the digital technology can be better used, applied to services related to the younger generation. And your presentation was a great example of using the technology to its optimum level, not going like a step beyond or being excessive. So you I think found the very fine line of where to stop in terms of the use of actual technology and from when to really reach out and make that human connection. So I think that was very, very helpful. Learning from both presentations, I think once again the important thing is to have that technology really meet with the services that we're trying to provide at the most optimal point. It's a challenge for all parties, for the service providers, for the service beneficiaries. So it's a challenge. And in this challenging process, we have to be very, very creative. We have to have all doors open and really try to learn from all possible sectors. And we really need to build a strong partnership with all relevant stakeholders. So that's my comment or my thoughts after listening to the two very wonderful presentations this afternoon. Thank you very much.
He wrapped up all the presentation very well. We had three presentations, one from the UK. The presenter is the investor and he backs the startups under the concept of impact investment. It was Paul Miller. And the other one is we need to be sensitive. And that message was the message and the comment was made by Mr. Charlie Chen. And Professor Kim Yong-duk said, as we learn from other cases, we need to identify where to focus more. And he emphasized that points very well. In the future, I hope we may take a more interesting path. Okay, this concludes our first part. Through these three presentations, we've gained a deep insight into how digital technology in the welfare sector is developing, both domestically and internationally, and the challenges we need to address. I hope the technology will continue to make welfare more human-centered and inclusive. Thank you for the three wonderful presentations. And we will start the part 2 from 3:40. I will give you 10-minute break. In this part 2, the best practices of the social welfare the technology cases will be presented in the part 2. And I'm Hamsang-kyung. Thank you.
예, 이제 들릴까요? 네,
Yes,
모두 쉬는
welcome
시간
back.
보내셨는지
I hope you enjoyed the short break.
제가 있는 곳은 눈이 그친 것 같은데
So here in Seoul, the snow is slowly stopping. For those of you who are in places where it's still snowing in Korea, please enjoy it while you can. So with no further ado, we'd like to start part 2 of the conference. I am Son Ho-seok. I will be the moderator for the second part of today's conference. We shared the presentations on the digital welfare trends in Korea, UK, and Hong Kong in the first part. Now we would like to share some best practices that we developed through the PUDA project, which we will introduce briefly. Now, for those of you joining us on YouTube, you will be seeing only the English presentation materials. If anyone needs the presentation materials in Korean, please email us, and we will be glad to send you the Korean brochure as well. So now we have Mr. Jang Chang-young from the ICT Complex, and he will be presenting to us what the PUDA project is all about.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jang Chang-young from ICT Complex. I would like to introduce our PUDA project. We are behind the schedule. Actually, I have a lot of desires to talk in detail, but I will be brief. About ICT Complex, this is sponsored by the Ministry of Science and IT and the NIPA. The both organizations run the ICT Square. Within the square, in the digital new technologies and new skills, implementation and educations are implemented in 2 tracks. And among them, we are in charge of ICT Complex. The trained capabilities is further transformed and further developed into the actual capacity. We have a space and equipment, training, networking, and the job placement and investments are the main areas of our activities. We have 5 centers across the country. We are in the metropolitan area. A lot of registered members are actively engaged in this center. More than 10,000 people registers, the members are there, and the monthly visitors is about 1,500. And the development competition and job employment and investment, a lot of counseling and investment counselings are being undertaken. Among many programs of under our host, most representative program is a PUDA project, which is software development competition. This year marked the 13th competition. Initially, we had a lot of room for improvement. Like other competition, first of all, even though we are dealing with the social challenges, we are more tilted toward the technological side. And many developers took up the topics for their development. However, they find it difficult to implement that in practical application. So a lot of outputs were the uniform and almost similar. Even though a lot of time were invested, but sometimes we had the experience that those outputs were just dead. after development.
사회적 약자를 대상으로 하는 제품 서비스 관련된 기업들 대상으로 이제 조사를 했는데
So we made a survey over the actually users.
시장에 이미 제품과
92% of the users say that even though services and products are out in the market, the validation was not properly proceeded. So the users say that those products and services should go through the validation process. And other opinion is that whether they are the elderly or the people with a disability, actually customization is needed, but that was not properly proceeded. So considering that, we identified our future direction. So PUDA project is directed to come up with the outputs that is really needed for the field, and the usability and feasibility of the outputs have to be validated to transform them into actual service, contributing to the social welfare. That was our focus.
다양한 이제 그 사회적 약자를 대상으로 한 다양한
For
문제들이
the
좀 나왔어요.
socially isolated, we did a lot of competitions rounds.
그 장애인 또 복지사 등 다양한 분들 대상 이제
So
수요 조사.
whether the users could be are the social workers or people with a disability, we conducted a survey on demand, and then we select topic, and then we look at the prototype to find the winners. After the projects are selected, then we do the customization for feasibility and implementation. And then the usability validation is conducted to produce the third and fourth output. I don't have much time. I have a lot to say, but I don't have much time given.
저희는 이제 뭐 여러 이제 사례들을 이제 확산하고
In
실제
order to
활동에
spread our output, in order to heighten the usability of the outcome, we do a lot of activities. Recently, we focus on the output from the competition. However, those outputs have to be sustainable. So commercialization is needed. Profit making as well as the social impact have to be enhanced. So we are trying to support the organizations to become the highly impactful organization. This is the very end of the introduction of our PUDA project. Thank you.
발표해 주셔서 감사합니다.
Thank you for the introduction. As is mentioned in the part 1, the important thing is not just the technology but also the users. So those technologies have to be well used where it is really needed. Now we are going into the presentation session. If you have any questions in the middle, you can leave the questions in the chat box.
오늘 저희가 답변하지 못한 질문이 있습니다.
If we cannot find answers today, then we will deliver the answers to you through the email you provided. And the very first presentation is...
The first presentation is delivered by Im Jong-dong from SMIM Factory, and he'll be sharing his presentation on the K welfare, the AI fitness solution.
지금까지의 진행 상황 그리고 향후 계획에 대해서
So
들어보도록
please
하겠습니다.
share with us how you have been progressing so far.
네, 안녕하세요.
Yes, hello.
예방적 건강 관리를 위한
I would like to present to you the AI fitness solution for preventive health management for seniors. As introduced, I am Im Jong-dong from SMIM Factory. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today online and for those who have worked so hard to put together today's conference.
아시아 지역은 현재 고령화가 가장 빠르게
So as you all know, the Asia is experiencing a very rapid aging increase in aged population. Korea is among the top countries in terms of having an aging population, and there are various social costs related to this aged population. More than 12% of the total medical expenses that occur in Korea are related to age-related diseases. And if you look at the long-term care insurance for the seniors, the past 5-year records show that the annual growth of more than 14% is occurring in the long-term care insurance. So all in all, we see this increased spending at a social, societal level in terms in related to the aging population. And this, I'm sure, is not only related to just Korea, but also the situation we can see across the board. We are seeing a need to have more preventive health management system for the seniors. As you can see on the slide, when we have preventive health management, the 30-day readmission rate of the aged population, the seniors, dramatically declines, as well as the annual hospitalization cost. So preventive health management enhances the overall quality of life for our seniors while reducing the social cost related to caring for the seniors' health issues. So we wanted to develop an AI-based health enhancement solution for the seniors to help them with their fitness activities. So basically, we have various preventive health management contents, and we help the seniors with an AI-based fitness solution that the seniors can follow along and do by themselves. So we use cameras and microphones to collect data on the actual fitness activities of the seniors that participate in the program. And through the analysis, assisted by artificial intelligence, we're able to provide a more customized rehab program or fitness program for the seniors, and also help the senior care facility and staff using the AI tools for the data collection and analysis.
저희 솔루션이 가진 강점 중에 하나는 예방적 건강 관리를 위한 전문 피트니스 컨텐츠입니다.
We provide a fitness-based preventive healthcare content, which is designed and verified by medical experts. So we provide fitness programs, activities for their upper and lower body fitnesses.
이 컨텐츠들은 고령자의 낙상 예방을 위해서 모든 피트니스를 의자에
fitness activities are all designed for the seniors to actually be in a seated position in order to prevent any fall accidents. So this can be a customized, tailored activity for the individual participants. And the AI algorithm that is applied to this program provides a more detailed design. So the individual movement range and data is provided as input, and the AI algorithm would be used to provide a more personalized exercise routine. So here in this case, there is a patient or a senior that has very different movements on their left and right side of the body, as you can see on the chart provided. Using our AI-assisted fitness program, the movement range greatly enhances for this particular participant. So also we provide an AI-based senior fitness solution that can be applied to a more broader audience, so in enhancing the usability and safety of the seniors. So this provides a real-time posture analysis and correction services using the single camera, and it also provides supplementary items for efficiency and safety. So with the weight data or the actual movement data, the AI algorithm will be giving specific instructions to adjust the movements and have more effective application of the services. We also use an AI-based senior health data analysis. So the quantitative analysis is provided using the qualitative data that is collected through our service. So the data will be analyzed and be provided on the summary chart, as you see on the right side of the slide. The evaluation results will be applied to the personalized or customized healthcare program that is being designed. There will also be a data management service included in our app. We also optimize the overall process for the services that are being provided. So we we eliminate all of the intermediate processes that an agency or a care center needed to have should they want to provide a customized fitness solution program. So by using our application, all of these intermediate processes can be eliminated. This enhances the administrative and performance management of the relevant healthcare centers by automating various administrative work. We are working with 3 client companies right now to verify our product. So not only the actual technology level itself, but we also collected data on how the field implementation takes place. So even if the centers do not have fitness experts, they can use our services. And again, we learned that the biggest challenge was to bring about continuous engagement of the individual seniors in private homes or in care centers like such. So we provide various different tactics to have active engagement of the individual participants at the centers. So in the first half of 2025, we will be introducing or launching the product in the actual market. Our program enables the health improvement of our seniors. So on average, usage time of 8 weeks, we have identified that their overall health improved by, on average, 13% in the field of muscle strength, muscular endurance, and flexibility, to name a few. The image that you see on the left is a case where the person with weak shoulders, with a frozen shoulder, has an imbalance in the movement range, as you see on the left. But with the 8 weeks of using our service, you see that the person's movement has greatly improved. We also have cases where they have shoulder issues, and we see an improvement of 41% and 12% respectively of pain and a range of motion related to various shoulder injuries of the participating individuals. When using our solution, another great gain by using our program service is that it enhances the work efficiency of the administrative staff at the welfare facility. So we see that the senior health management centers administrative work is reduced by up to 93% in terms of time spent on various administrative work by using our service. So this is a slide of our team, and we have easy-to-use technology that can be applied to your activities at the centers to solve various challenges that we face in this aging population society. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
첫 번째 발표에서 긴장도
Thank you
되었던
very
건데
much for the presentation.
정말 AI에 관련된 얘기도 해주셨고 여러 가지
So
통계들도
your
말씀해 주셨는데
services also make use of the AI, and you've shared some good statistics. You've shared some actual cases that has been applied to the pilot project site. So how was the reaction from your potential customers or your pilot projects? Well, the seniors and the centers, those are the two endpoints that we have. In terms of the seniors who were involved in the pilot project, we provide various different types of activities for the seniors with the help of AI. So you can have one-on-one exercises, one-to-group exercises, and also different kind of like talk-like, lecture-like sessions for the seniors. Depending on the personality of the seniors, they get to pick and choose what kind of activity they can participate in. So if you're a shy person, you can opt to have a one-on-one session. If you are a more outgoing person and you want to be with lots of people, then you can go into the group session. So there's different variety of programs provided with the AI assistance. It helps the seniors to have that pick and choice kind of an option to choose. They can also see the actual results of their participation through the evaluation reports. So this was actually a very good point for the participants as well, because they get to see in writing, in print, how their health has improved. As for the actual customers, the health care center staff, their work efficiency increases significantly, and this was a very big satisfactory point for the staff at the centers. So on average, I would say everybody scored a 9 out of 10 in terms of their satisfactory level after trying out our product. Thank you. I have one more question, a more personal maybe question as well.
지금까지 하셨던 내용들 굉장히 좀 인상 깊게 보았는데 또 비슷한 영국에서는 비슷한 프로젝트에 투자를 한 적도 있는데 결국 중요한 것은 이것을 어떻게 계속해서 확장할 것이냐.
So the question again for programs like this is how are we going to expand this service? How are we going to keep up the service? So your program, for example, are contacting the daycare centers, for example. Do you want to continue with that, or do you have plans to go into individual customers, or maybe take your service abroad? So how is your plan for that? We've actually already secured a wider range of customer base for the market launch that is slated for the first half of 2025. So we have been contacted by many businesses that got interested in our service. So we are being contacted by hospitals, local communities, especially from the non-metropolitan areas where you have hospitals in faraway places. You don't have any specialized agencies that could provide services like such, but have local community homes, very small scale, and that can implement a program like ours more readily. In terms of exports, we haven't exactly tested whether our product can be implemented to overseas clients directly. So we'll be working on that in 2024 and 25, and in the long run, exports could be a possibility. With that, thank you very much, Mr. Im from Smin Factory.
첫 번째 발표 들었고요. 그럼 이제 두 번째 발표 듣도록 하겠습니다. 두 번째는 메디패밀리의 남승현 대표님께서
We have Nam-Seung-yeon from MediFamily who will present on their platform for medication and health management service for vulnerable population. With the technology, the service is released to make sure the medication compliance.
원래 지금 써 있는 팀명하고 발표하신 하는 팀명이 좀 다른 것 같은데
Actually, team name prescribed on the presentation is different from the company name where he's from. I am
ICT Complex
남승현 from
팀 청바지로
청바지.
참가하여 입상을
Actually, 청바지 is our team name, which was participating in the software development competition. Thank you for inviting us. Our service is to provide a service platform for the medication compliance and health management.
이웃이 계신가요?
Do you have any people you know that who have difficulties in medication compliance?
네. 적절한 약 복용만으로도 저희는 고령의 지병 환자,
Our
만성
service
정신
targets the elderly people with the mental illness and the vulnerable population. The medication itself may ease the pains from the disease, but if they have difficulties in medication management, the vicious cycle takes place. In order to address the problem, our platform is created. If any people have difficulties in medication compliance, then the technology can help them to take the proper medicine and also improve the medication impact. The glucose and blood and the other health metrics could be detected early on to prevent adverse effect from the disease.
시스템 솔루션에 대해서 설명을 드리겠습니다.
Let me explain our solution. Our target users are the elderly individuals living alone and patients with chronic disease, and also patients with chronic mental illness and individuals with dementia. Usually, the service users are the social workers, the caretakers or caregivers or administrators. Our platform has three key features. The first one is smart pill box. In order to prevent overuse, there's a locking system to help visually impaired the patients. We have LED system, and also the photo taking function is embedded. And also we have features that may reduce the medication expense. So patients can take medication at designated time, and the medication activities could be monitored and observed by the caregivers and the nurses.
관리자나 보호자는
Administrator and caregiver. Instead of video, I will verbally explain how it works. The administrator and caregiver may set the medication for 1 week in this box. In order to prevent overuse, there is a locking system. After the box is being locked, then the alarms will go off, which is set by the administrator. Then the medicines inside the box will be exposed to the patients. Once patients take the medicine, and that scene is recorded through the smartphone, and that record is transmitted to the administrator and the caregiver. The push notification is on. And secondly, there is a stable network service. So Wi-Fi network is supported. Without Wi-Fi network, data USIM chip is used. So in remote areas like suburban areas, then the users can still use the platform service. And smart medication management service. All the information is being shared in real time. The social worker may register the patients in the app, and the patients and caregivers could be registered in the app, and they are being networked to make sure the medication is conducted properly and all the information about the patient's status is shared. So health metric can be registered like this. With the basic information, if there is change detected, then health event is also shared. Recently, test was conducted in the social welfare institution. So medication records are being shared and recorded. And through the platform, we may expect these benefits. We can manage real-time monitoring and management of patient health metric and medication adherence. So that ensures medication safety and medication effect. For the future, we will develop our service into the three directions. First, we will enhance user interface design with accessibility focus. And also, we will improve the risk detection and missing people prevention system. And a lot of IoT equipment will be connected to our service. With the basic information, we may link with the hospitals. The physicians can help the diagnosing the patients with the information shared. Not only the severe patients, but also the patients with the mild symptoms. The smart pill box for them will be available soon. The healthcare management is important. That is our company mission. For your families, for your friends, we will make sure the safe and healthy life for all together. Thank you. I'm afraid the video cannot be played in the middle. So when I take the medicine, sometimes I forget whether I really took a medicine or not. So even a normal person can have that confusion. But so if there are people with disabilities, then those confusion will be more severe than me. So the smart pill box could be very effective. I will have one question, and you may add more of the message that you want to deliver.
지금 현재 하시고 계신 서비스가 조금 치매 환자라든지
This service targets the patients with dementia and people with illness, mental illness, right? If the patients in institution take medicine, so the caregivers would ask them to take the medicines, and then they will check whether the medication is administered well or not. So what is the good point of your platform service for those in the institutions? I will give you 3 minutes.
플랫폼 서비스는 저희 개인적인 경험에서 이제
This service was created out of my own direct experience. My mother was diagnosed of dementia. Of course, she was admitted to the Alzheimer Care Center. Before she was admitted, when she had a mild symptom, the family members had trouble to manage her medication schedule. So before she was admitted to the institution, this platform service can help those patients to regularly take medication. That was the basic idea. At the moment, we are undertaking the tests to find the improvement points. When this smart pill was used, we got the feedback the voluntary medication was made much easier. Yes, this is product.
개인의 경험들이 되게 중요하다.
So your experience, we have discussed the user experience is very important. Yes, your direct experience is embedded in this creation.
발표하신 내용 중에 그 구형 스마트폰을 활용해가지고
And you said that the unused smartphone is used to record the medication scene. So maybe there could be some privacy issue because smartphones may record daily life, or is there any trigger point that start recording by the smartphone? What is the right? Of course, yes, privacy is important. The feature of this device is to give verbal notification to take the medicine where the medicine is located. So it's like another person pushing the patient to take the medicine. When patient comes to the medication station, when the smartphone is touched by the patient, then the recording process starts. It's not about the continuous recording of the daily life.
물론 그런 촬영들도 뭐 서로의 동의하에
So maybe if there is consensus, then the more of the recording could be taking place. Yes, privacy is well protected. And I thought that any comments, any last comments? There could be the potential users at home and abroad for your service.
저와 비슷한 환경에 계신 분들이 생각보다 주변에
I think there are a lot of people who were in the situation where I was. This service could be very new or unfamiliar, but some people would have envisioned that this kind of service would be good if that is available. Not only from my experience, but also in the institutions, we went through the test to perfect or more complete the product and service. Personally, I also have a family member who is dementia, and we also had medication issues. And thank you for the product and presentation as well. And we've heard two presentations now.
Now we can move on to our third team. And here we will hear the presentation of the emergency situation service, Seek. So from Cosmos Medic. The floor is yours.
응급상황대처 서비스 개발한 코스모스 메딕의 방윤혁입니다.
My name is Bang Yoon-hyuk. I'm with Cosmos Medic, and our service is Seek. So I'm going to play a short video for you explaining our service.
코스모스 메딕은 언제 어디서나 함께하는 응급의료 서비스 제공을 목표로 하는 스타트업으로 누구에게나 더 쉽고 빠르고 효율적인 응급의료 체계와 의료기술을 개발하는 일에 힘쓰고 있습니다. 씩씩은 본인 또는 가족 및 지인의 건강정보를 나의 휴대폰에 등록한 뒤 응급상황 시 손쉽게 활용할 수 있는 모바일 어플리케이션입니다. 적십자 버튼을 눌러 건강정보를 입력하고 기, 몸무게, 기저질환, 복용약물 등을 작성합니다. 작성한 내용은 119로 문자 발송과 전화가 가능하고 119 대원 및 응급실 의료진에게 의료신분증으로 활용할 수 있습니다. 씩씩을 통해 신고를 활성화하면 컨트롤 타워에서도 신고자의 위치와 건강정보를 확인, 신고자 위치 기준으로 가까운 응급실이 활성화되며 각 응급실의 현황을 확인합니다. 앞으로 씩씩은 증상에 대한 몇 가지 질문을 통해 진료 가능한 병원 안내가 가능해집니다. 코스모스 메딕은 더 쉽고 빠르고 효율적인 응급의료 체계 구축을 위해 오늘도 노력하고 있습니다.
네, 그러면 발표를 이어서 하겠습니다. 저희
I
발표
hope you enjoyed the
순서는
video. So we will I will first start off by introducing Cosmos Medic.
응급 현장에서 실제로 근무를 하고 있는
We are
응급의학과
a
전문의
team
간호사가 주축으로 해서
of people who actually work at various emergency sites. And we wanted to set up this company because we see cases where lives that could have been saved are lost.
이런 마음가짐을 갖고 창업을 시작하게
And we wanted
되었습니다.
to change that situation with the technology that we currently have. So our vision here is a world where patients can access efficient and systematic emergency care anytime and anywhere. And our mission is to provide a faster and more efficient emergency medical system.
응급의료 체계를 구축하는데 목표를 두고 있습니다. 저희 팀은
So this
응급의학과
is again our
전문의
team.
간호사,
We have nurses, emergency medicine specialists, and of course a developer on the team.
하나의 큰 질문에서
And
시작되었습니다.
basically we started out with one big question, that there is a gap. There's definitely a gap in the emergency medical system, and how can we help close that gap with technology assistance?
제출한 문제는 크게 두 가지가 있습니다.
So we identified two questions from the emergency medical system. One is that there is no real-time sharing of patient information. So for example, if you dial 119, which is the equivalent of 911 in Korea, the central control tower and the emergency ambulance shares only part of the information that is collected. So there are cases where information has to be relayed from the control tower to the ambulance or to the national emergency medical centers.
병원에 실시간으로 전달하지를 못합니다.
From the ambulance, there's no easy way to inform the hospital of the real-time changes to the patient. So in some cases, the hospital is informed of stage, for example, 2, whereas the actual patient arriving via the ambulance is at a critical stage, or say a stage 3, because the situation changes during the transport of the patient to the hospital. And another question is, it's quite difficult to identify or select an appropriate hospital for the particular patient because of the ER capacity and the availability of the procedures or the actual surgery that needs to be performed on the patient. So our service, the Seek service, is a mobile application. And I'm going to first show you what kind of functions is provided through this mobile service. So this is the actual application, and you are directed to input your medical health situation. So if you have any ongoing diseases, if you have any diseases or medication that you're taking, your blood type, your blood pressure, your weight, height, so all of the vital signs can be pre-recorded. And also you can leave special memos or notes for the emergency personnel to refer to should you be in an emergency situation. So you can provide this information in advance so that when an emergency unfortunately does occur, the medical staff already have all this information about your personal health and any medical situation. So this information alone can be immensely helpful for the medical staff and the hospitals. there's also a button that allows you to call the 119 ambulance. So again, the information will be directly shared to the control center at 119, as well as the medical, the NEMC. So again, the application itself has your personal and medical and family information. It also has a button that allows you to call the emergency ambulance, for example. The information is used as your medical ID. So you don't have to say anything to the medical staff that arrive on the scene, because it can already convey all the medical information. We also have a multilingual translation service embedded in the service. So for those of you who don't speak Korean or who are not Korean, can also use the service. So the control tower receives the emergency call when you press the emergency button inside our application. I'm going to show you this with a recorded video. So again, on the Google map, we have the emergency center, emergency room information embedded to our service. So let's say you press the emergency button in our application, and your call will be sent to the the control tower along with your medical information that you had inputted earlier on. And with that, you will be shown up to five nearest medical rooms around you. And their situation, whether they have the beds, they have the right doctors, the right equipment, and so forth, will also appear on the application. So the control tower, our web service we have here, is that you have a case reported through the Seek app, and then the report is received at the control tower, and your medical information will be shared with the ambulance, with the hospital near you, and the control tower. And that will help identify the necessary hospital. So here again, this reporting takes place. The ambulance comes with first aid, dispatched to the scene. You have on-site emergency care. You're transported to the hospital of selection with the information already shared via the ambulance, via the control tower, and the hospitals. So last year and the year before, in 22 and 23, we had a expansion plan, and we worked with about 100 actual participants. Fortunately, none of them experienced an actual emergency case, but they helped with our assistance. The 100 participants inputted their medical information on the app, and we will be continuously working with them, monitoring their health situation. We're also working with nurses, school nurses, and specialists working at elementary schools. So we are developing a chatbot with their assistance, and that chatbot will be added to the Seek application. So we have great ambitions. We want to make sure that our applications can be used by emergency care persons, hospitals, not only here in the domestic market, but also overseas. So thank you very much for your attention. 2024, Korea saw some very heated debate over the effective use of our medical resources. And I believe your service can be very helpful for the users. I have two questions, one coming from the patient's side and the other from the hospital side. The first question, when an actual emergency occurs, most Koreans will dial 119 directly rather than go on to the app that they have downloaded on their app. So how do you direct the participants or educate the participants to go to your app first?
본인이 어디가 아픈지 그리고 어떤 질환을 갖고 있는지
most cases, like a grown up with a mild medical situation will have no difficulty explaining their situation to anyone, be it the policeman, be it the ambulance, so forth. So actually, they might not need the use of an application like ours. Like you said, they could call 911 or 119 directly. Our service actually focuses more on people who are elderly or who are challenged in terms of having that direct conversation with the medical experts. So we actually work with these people.
그분들이 효과적으로 의사소통을 할 수 있다고 생각이 됩니다.
So I think in using our service, their medical information is already recorded and ready to be shared with the medical experts. So that's, I think, where the value of our service comes in. How about the second part, working with hospitals? Information has to be shared from the first of all, the patient, the participant, the ambulance, the control tower, and also with the hospitals. Now, this fluid movement of information, sharing of information might not be that easy under the current regulations or laws, or there would be some actual challenges. So how would you persuade the medical doctors or the directors of hospitals or the ambulance staff? Well, anyone working at a hospital, I think, shares one big goal. That is to save lives, because all lives matter. We need to save lives. So anyone, an emergency patient in front of me, needs to receive the best care possible, and all medical personnel would want to provide the most efficient response to the situation. We are not saying that our service will be able to save all emergency patients, but I think if it saves one life at a time, we would be very happy. Not just the people within our team, but anyone working in the medical field, I think, would agree to this basic fact. So again, if we could save just one life at a time, we're quite happy. Yes, I understand that, again, this service comes from really the hearts of the developers and the team members themselves. So thank you very much for your presentation and your service.
Next, we will welcome CEO Oh Jang-woo from AI System, who will share about Daon, or AI care platform for emergency situations. AI systems provide a lot of AI services, especially Daon is created for a particular need. And already he won the prize in the competition. Now the implementation is going on. So I'd like to invite Mr. Jo Jang-won from AI Systems.
안녕하십니까. 저는 AI 시스템즈의 조장훈입니다.
Hello everyone, I am Jo Jang-woo from AI Systems. Today I will be presenting our AI solution called Daon. Daon is a solution that automatically sends SOS alerts by identifying falls, fainting, and solitary deaths among the elderly patients and people with disabilities. First, let me show you our Daon service video.
당신은 최근 넘어진 날을 기억하시나요? 당신과 같은 날 넘어진 한 어르신은 이를 기억할 수 없습니다. 왜냐하면 그 한 번의 넘어짐으로 인해 운명을 달리하셨기 때문입니다. 낙상의 위험성에 대해 당신은 어떻게 생각하시나요? 낙상 사고는 65세 이상 노인들 중 50%가 2년 이내에 사망할 정도로 생명을 위협하는 치명적인 사고입니다. 그러나 이러한 치명적인 사고에서도 골든타임을 확보한다면 소중한 생명을 지켜낼 수 있습니다. 다오는 24시간 365일 낙상, 실신, 고독사 시 골든타임을 확보하여 당신의 소중한 생명을 지켜주는 AI 솔루션입니다. 다오는 다음과 같이 동작합니다. 고령 노인이 밖으로 이동하기 위해 걸어가다가 미끄러져 넘어집니다. SOS 구조 요청을 하고 싶지만 몸이 마음대로 움직여지지 않습니다. 이때 벽에 설치해둔 인공지능 카메라 다운이 낙상, 실신을 감지 및 식별하여 와이파이를 통해 노인복지센터에 상주하던 요양보호사, 간호사에게 SOS 긴급 구조 문자를 전송, 동영상을 확인하고 현장 방문을 결정 및 차량을 타고 출동합니다. 독거노인의 집에 도착하여 긴급 응급 조치를 한 후 119 앰뷸런스에 태워 병원 응급실에 입원시켜 상황을 마무리합니다. 건강한 삶은 우리의 최우선 과제입니다. 당신의 안전과 생명을 지키겠습니다. 다오는 ICT 콤플렉스 소프트웨어 개발 공모전 피오다 프로젝트에서 우수 개발물로 선정된 AI 플랫폼입니다. AI 시스템즈 다운.
영상에서 보셨듯이 낙상
As you saw
사고는
in the video,
위협하는 매우 위험한 사고입니다.
the fall is very life-threatening. If a hip is broken, then complication may affect the elderly. Due to the complication, 30% of the elderly or 50% of the elderly die within 2 years and 3 years respectively. So this is why we urgently need a solution that can detect emergency situation early on and enable swift response. This shows the current method for requesting help when elderly individuals living alone experience fall. The current system requires the fallen people have to push the button. The major drawback is the injured elderly person cannot move but must manage to press the button. Dawn solved this problem by automating the process.
다운은 카메라로 실내외의 노인
Dawn is a kind of AI solution that uses cameras to automatically detect falls, fainting, and solitary deaths of elderly people and individuals with disability indoors and outdoors. Additionally, Dawn sends SOS warning and video footage to the caregivers and nurses. This is Dawn's concept schema. The AI camera identifies falls, fainting, and solitary deaths of elderly people and sends SOS to caregivers and nurses. After checking the SOS alert and video footage, they can request emergency service by calling 119. Emergency responders can then rescue the elderly person within the golden time window and transport them to the hospital.
카메라 세대,
The Dawn
인터넷,
system consists of 3 cameras, internet Wi-Fi, cloud computing, AI solution, and SOS alert app.
기능은 3가지입니다. 낙상, 실신, 고독사
So,
식별.
the fall, fainting, and the solitary death, SOS alarm, and video footage sending. They are the main features. Dawn is currently being installed and sold in real-world settings, like nursing facilities and public buildings. Actually, Dawn is sold and installed.
B2G 시장,
They are installed in homes and nursing facilities.
설치 운영되고 있습니다.
Usually, Dawn's main market is B2G market.
이것은 실제 작동 모습입니다.
This is a real activation.
프라이버시 존중을 위해서 모자이크 처리됩니다.
Normal times, the video is a mosaic filter to protect the privacy. Only when the actual fall or fainting occurs, clear video is recorded and sent to caregivers and nurses. At this time, a house floor plan marking the exact location of the fall is also sent to the emergency responders. We think POC is very important.
가정되지 않은 AI 솔루션은 좋은
AI
기술이
solution
아닙니다.
without the actual information is not good.
장애인 노인 협회의 니즈와 보호자,
So all the
간호사의
different needs from the patients, caregivers, and the government officials, all these needs are different. All these should be incorporated into one AI solution, which could be good.
이것은 다운이 B2G 시장에 적용된 실제
This
사례입니다.
is a real case when Down services actually implemented in B2G market. This is the control room in the exhibition hall. The fire took place here. The exact mark on the floor plan is sent out to the emergency responders.
우리는 다운 서비스를 다양한 방식으로 홍보하고 있습니다.
We are promoting Down service in many ways.
행정 분야에 집중적으로 홍보하고
So
있습니다.
usually our main target is our Seoul welfare activity. And our market will be expanded not only in Korea but to Asia and Europe. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
감사합니다. 아마 듣기 전에는 프라이버시에 대한 궁금증이 있으신 분도 계실 것 같고 어떻게 실제
There
사용되는지에
could be
대한
some questions about the privacy and how it operates. But you address the privacy issue, and also you show the POC testing.
좀 어려우실 수도 있던 분들이 이해하는 데 많은 도움을 주신 것
So
같아요.
those information could be very helpful for people who had that questions. I have one technical question. You said fall.
사람마다, 환경마다
Depending on people, depending on circumstances, falls could be played out in different forms.
잠깐 누워 있는 걸 수도 있고
Maybe some people just lying down,
같은 활동을 반복하지 않으신 분도
and
계실
some
거고
people just stay without any motion.
서비스에서는 조금
So
개인화라고 해야 될까요?
the down service,
되고 있는지 아니면 아직 조금
how then the down service, how those different how those confusions may be addressed, or does it have individualized service?
연락이 왔으면 좋겠다 이런 니즈들도
So
있습니다.
we found the individual needs that only our parents felt that I want to get the notification. So we use face recognition technology.
실제로 이제 저희가 이게 낙상이냐 아니냐는 사람들이
Whether
공간과
whether it is really fall or not.
예를 들어서 이제
In order to distinguish that,
요양원 같은데
you have to think that living spaces. You have to think about living spaces. If the person is lying on the floor for more than 15 minutes, that is fall and fainting, which is dangerous. If the one person is lying on the bed, that is not defined as a fall. So we distinguish dangerous situation and
좀 더 발전시키는
less dangerous situation and safe normal situation. And for privacy protection, we need to converge different technologies.
AI 솔루션 하나만 가지고 단일 솔루션으로 상품화나 제품화할 수 있는 게
Single
거의
AI solution cannot be sold, cannot be viable in the market.
또 다른 AI 솔루션도
Sensors, technologies, and other AI solutions should be combined. For example, invading house
프라이버시를 보호해야 할 필요성이
where privacy needs to be protected. In that case, we use smartwatch and vibration center, and non-contact vital signs technologies could be incorporated in the solution. For example, Samsung smartwatch
대화도 기술적 API를 공개해 주십사 하고 부탁하고 있는 그런 역할.
could be helpful. We ask Samsung company to open API. I hope many efforts could be led to a viable technology. In Hong Kong, we heard that how AI could help people's daily life. Now, the AI systems technologies are also used well. Not only technology, but also the human contact, living contact is important in the solution. Thank you for your presentation.
Moving on to our last presentation, we have Wee from HD Medi introducing to us the connection service between diabetic patients and pharmacists. Already more than 100 pharmacies have implemented this service, are implementing this service already. So we welcome the presentation to share more details about the actual employment in the market. Yes, I am from HD Medi. We provide IAC, an AI-based medicine-taking services. So there are many cases where the polypharmacy patients taking 5 or more medications are at 100% risk of adverse drug reactions. There are over 8.53 million seniors aged more than 65. Over 70% of them are polypharmacy users. And again, there's 100% risk of adverse drug reactions in these cases, especially in the geriatric medication cases. So there's a need for the medication intervention to relieve the patients of any risks in this regard. So what kind of medicines did they take? The lack of information, lack of consistency in the medical history leads to more than 530,000 cases of adverse drug reactions every year. This leads to a social economic loss reaching 530 billion Korean won in Korea. So we developed this service, a remote medication guidance service, to assist in reducing the risks related to polypharmacy right away. So basically, our service provides easy medication management, easy and convenient medication management to address adverse drug reaction issues. So automated medication management through a single photo shot. The medication safety review takes place and the data is shared with healthcare professionals. So if you take a picture of your prescription, then the app will analyze the different medications and provide information to keep track of all the medication that you take and share that information with your medical staff. So with the patient's consent, the pharmacist can concentrate on providing the medication guidance to their patients. So this is the actual screenshot or screen that is used by the pharmacist. So it gives you all the information about what kind of medication the patient is taking. Is in this case a diabetic patient. So this single photo taken of your medication, this prescription, all this information can be automatically uploaded and shared with the pharmacist and with the hospitals. So clients have expressed very high satisfactory level with solving the adverse drug reactions to be safe and convenient to use. The pharmacists are also saying it's very easy to explain the medication to the customers. We already have very large amounts of data accumulated, and we are going for market expansion. Thank you very much for your attention.
혹시 그 영상에서 조금 더 강조해야 되었을 만한 내용들.
If you could share what the video that we weren't able to play. if you could share. Well, actually, I've covered all the important parts, but
처방전 사진 촬영 한 번 하면
so basically, this is very simple. You take a picture of your prescription, the information is collected with AI assistance, and the information is shared with the pharmacists to prevent any drug abuse situations. It seems that it was my understanding that the service itself focuses on diabetes patients. Is that the case, or does your service cover all patients? I think that would be very helpful for any future customers to better understand your service. We really went through a lot of trial and error phase. We first wanted to work with the patients in terms of using this service. But it seems that the pain point was not so much found or assessed by the patient themselves, but the pharmacists could actually be a more effective client for our service as the starting point to solving the problem of multiple drug abuse situations. The pharmacists themselves don't really have a direct pain point in terms of this. And diabetes was the illness that, from the pharmacist's point of view, was an illness that would directly benefit from such services. So how would you, so you started out with diabetes patients, and how do you plan to further expand the service to not only diabetes patients but for other patients as well? Well, the pharmacists have to do manual handling of various diabetes medications. So on average, one pharmacist would have to spend about 20 minutes per diabetes patient in getting the medication ready and explaining it to their patients. So this service actually dynamically reduces that 20 minutes of prep time for the pharmacists in working with various diabetes medication. Now, diabetes, as you know, is not a curable disease. It's a disease that has to be managed in long term. And it's very difficult for patients themselves to be that really effective control tower of their medical situation. And if we can enlist the help of pharmacists in doing this kind of work, it greatly benefits the patients themselves while reducing the workload of the pharmacists in helping those diabetes patients. So I think that is a very valid point of our service. So what are your plans for future expansion, business expansion? I am actually, I have a legal background. And one of my family members had a misfortunate case of drug abuse cases. And I wanted to, at my initial interaction with the situation was I wanted to tackle this from a legal point of view. I was about to sue the hospital and the pharmacy and so forth that did not provide adequate guidance to my family member in taking multiple medications. However, I quickly learned that I was not the only one, or my family was not the only family suffering from this multiple drug use abuses. So that's how I came to develop such a service that would benefit the patients, the pharmacists, and the medical industry as a whole. We learned from all the different cases that these services started out as a very direct response to the individual experiences of the developers and of the entrepreneurs. So although it started out as from a personal experience, I think it can benefit the society as a whole. So we really, really appreciate the hard work being put into the different services and applications. Thank you very much for the 5 presentations of the actual companies and their services. And we hope that the businesses, each cases will really prosper and really expand their service in the market.
아마 궁금하신 분들도 계실 것 같습니다. 그런 내용들을 포함해서
We have prepared one final session to share with you what the future plans are for the PIUDA project and the ICT project.
긴 시간 동안 너무 힘드실 텐데 제가 좀 짧게.
Thank you for your patience. I will be brief.
몇 가지 안내사항을 좀
And also, I have some points to make.
그 디지털 그 사회복지 분야에 대한 여러 이제 디지털 전환에 대한 이제
In social welfare, we will take the survey on digital transformation. What social welfare problems are and how to address them. So we will take that opinion through the survey. With the ICT software, we try to put together some solutions to tackle those issues.
아까 말씀드렸던 이제 뭐 해외 실증이나 뭐 이런 것들을
And
어떻게
for the
진행하냐.
overseas implementation, how the overseas implementation will be undertaken. And about that question, first, through the survey, we will collect the ideas for what is needed. Then we will review those ideas. And then we will try to match up the solutions and services that we know and that are available. When those services and products are available and customizable, and also we will discuss them for the expected benefits. And then we will bring the discussion output to the people who are in need. And here our contact is put on this slide. We are recruiting social welfare experts through this conference, but also other PIUDA projects on the global stage. And we need ICT developers. If you have insights and experience, then please contact us to become part of our specialist pool. In the conference, you may register yourself or you can recommend other specialists for us. And thirdly,
분야에 도움이 될 수 있을 만한 필요할 것 같은 이제 그 우수 제품이나 서비스에 대한 정보들을 제가 정기적으로
we are going to provide information about the viable services and products for the welfare sector. So if you have some need, then please contact us. Then we will review internally and then we will get back to you. The contact information is available, so use the contact and please keep touching with us. In about 2 weeks, in December, we will give you some announcement for the opinion collection and idea collection. Please join in our activity.
뿐만 아니라 이게 유튜브가 아마 계속
for those participants here and for potential viewers through the YouTube, you can check the information that we are announcing. So if you are interested, please contact ICT Complex. This is about the time to wrap up. Maybe our patience is running thin. And I reviewed the participants list. There are backgrounds, different backgrounds, and some comments say that some terminologies are easy and the other terminologies are not easy to understand. For example, POC. POC is a proof of concept. So, and also we had technical glitches, and sorry for that. Through a lot of talks, we have been discussing how through a lot of talks, we learned the attitude and the intention to use the technology for a good use. Social workers and students and the staff from the foundations are part of our gathering. Of course, there are a lot of room for improvement. And now we learned that technology is really needed for us to lead a better life. And our efforts will continue. And thank you for your patience and participation.